We see a boy Kintaro who is way to his new job. A golden car tries to overtake Kintaro, and from it Kintaro falls in a garbage. The car lady come to see Kintaro is okay or not. Kintaro stared towards lady. The lady gave him 1 million yen to repair himself and goes away. Kintaro notes down all the details of lady in his diary. He goes to a cycle repair where he gets repair his cycle. He starts to move again, but some bodies are asking money from cycle repair. He notes all the things and get to the office. Kintaro reaches and meets with President, which was the lady he meets at car. President tells him to clean bathroom. President visited to Kintaro and he says he knows computer language and he will show his skill, but unfortunately, he did not the O+ language. President gets angry at him and Kintaro begs to President that please don't fire me. Kintaro starts to work in office and one day he hides in the girls' changing room and see girls while changing. Everyone goes from the office, but Kintaro sees a computer was still on, so he stops the computer. Then the president arrives and gets angry at him because she works for 3 months to complete a software and Kintaro switch of the computer without saving the file. She kicks out Kintaro out of company. All the company employees start to complete the project within a week. An employee calls President and shows the program that Kintaro gives her. President felt sorry for Kintaro, so she starts to find him. Outside of office, lady meets with cycle repair guy. He tells Kintaro gave him 1 million yen to repay his debt and President takes her car and goes to find Kintaro. We see Kintaro, he is on the way to find his next job on his cycle. Kintaro finds a work in campaign office where mayor wife tells her to take a wine from her house where he sees mayor daughter Naoko. Kintaro knows that the mayor is purchasing votes to win the election. One day a lady asks for leave because her son has a fever, but mayor wife declines it. Kintaro says he will work on her place. Kintaro goes to mayor house and start cleaning, but Naoko comes. They went to Naoko room where Naoko starts to change in front of Kintaro. Naoko starts to seduce Kintaro, but he runs away. On other day Naoko meets with Kintaro and gave him a letter in which she wrote to meet her at his night. Kintaro starts to visit daily at Naoko house and daily Naoko seduce Kintaro with different ways. One day she found the diary of Kintaro and sees what Kintaro wrote about her in the diary. The mayor wins the election. Kintaro comes at night, but this time Naoko starts to rip her cloths and she calls everyone and tells Kintaro tries to seduce her. Naoko thoughts he will play victim card, but he kisses Naoko and everyone starts to beat Kintaro, but Naoko saved him. Kintaro goes away from the city and in the way, Naoko returns his diary and her number in the diary. Kintaro starts to work in a noodle shop where the owner teaches Kintaro how to make noodles. A customer eats the noodle but he didn't like it. Owner apologized to the customer. The owner daughter Noriko arrives. A young businessman who helped Noriko's father from a car accident. He says to Noriko that he will come next Sunday. Kagure takes Noriko on his ship and asks for marriage and kiss her. On the night Kintaro sees Kagure with a different girl, he starts to follow him and hear that Kagure's plan is to take the noodle shop by marrying Noriko and open a bar and then give divorce to Noriko. Kintaro tells Kagure to stop, but he beats Kintaro. Next day Noriko goes on a date with Kagure at horse racing where Kagure starts to seduce Noriko, but mistakenly. He kisses Kintaro. They don't understand anything and Noriko went to home. At night Noriko tells Kintaro about Kagure, but he says Kagure is not right person. Kintaro meets with Kagure at night, tells him to stop doing these kinds of things to Noriko. Kagure says she is a bitch. Noriko hears the conversation and runs away. Kagure tries to stop Kintaro, but Kintaro punches Kagure and gets away. On the next day Noriko comes in Kintaro's room and thanks him to protect her. Then Kintaro says goodbye to all of them and goes away on his cycle. Kintaro follows a lady in a swimming school. Lady asks Kintaro that what he wants. Kintaro says he comes here for a job. Luckily the swimming school was hiring some staff, so lady asks Kintaro to show his skill. Kintaro starts to blabber about his swimming, but when he jumps, he can't able to swim. School members says you are not selected, so he says he will practice and do anything, so please give him, and then he asks to meet with their in charge. The lady was the in charge of the school. Kintaro starts to beg, but his trick don't work, so he challenges the lady that if he will defeat her in 1 month and until then he will work free. Lady approves it and hire Kintaro. Kintaro begins to teach students swimming with games. One day Kintaro asks the lady to teach him. Lady starts to teach Kintaro slowly. Kintaro learns about swimming. The lady says if he will keep up with her then he will accept that he has the ability. Lady starts to swim, but Kintaro smashed his head between lady legs. They both get out of the swimming and lady sees that Kintaro thing is hard and fired him from school. Lady noticed that the new students are very skilled. The teacher said that they begin to teach students swimming with games, which was Kintaro's idea. Then lady feels regret about kicking Kintaro. Kintaro sees a beautiful girl bike racer. He starts to follow her. They stopped at a restaurant and Kintaro finds a job in Daitaku house. He sees the daughter of Daitaku, Ryuko, who was very beautiful. He peeked in Ryuko's room. Kintaro gets into Ryuko's room, starts to check her things, but suddenly the madam of the house comes and kicks out Kintaro. Kintaro makes a camp around the house because he wants to know something about Ryuko. One day he sees Ryuko to go outside of home. He starts to follow her and she reaches an old house where she gets naked and starts to love her bike. Kintaro sees all the things and remembered that she is the same biker girl. Kintaro reveals himself and the girl challenge him that if he wins a race against her then Kintaro can claim her. Kintaro agrees to it and participate in the race. By his cycle race starts and Ryuko went way ahead. Kintaro uses her mind and slides his cycle straight from the mountain to the highway. Ryuko passes from a Porsche car and the car gets scratched, so he started to follow Ryuko. Then Kintaro throws a hook to the car from which his speed gets very high. The car applied brake. Kintaro jumps and landed on electric wire and begin to ride. He comes down and then ahead the bridge is broken. Ryuko stops but Kintaro jumps his cycle to cross the bridge, but because his brakes were failed the lady thinks that Kintaro is dead, but Kintaro runs his cycle and starts to follow her by saying please take your reward. Kintaro gets a job in an animation studio where he meets with a girl named Chai. Kintaro sees that everyone in the studio is sleeping and all the studio is messed up. Kintaro's job is to transfer the one animation to another animator. A famous author comes in the studio and Kintaro asks him about his autograph and he gives it to Kintaro. The author's secretary tells Boss Man that they have deadline of 1.5 months. Can they complete the animation? Boss Man says they will complete it before the deadline. Kintaro cleans the studio but an animator beats Kintaro. Chai bandage Kintaro and tells don't touch any animator desks without their permission. The secretary comes and says that they only have 3 weeks and they did not complete a single take. Boss Man says they will complete it before the deadline. Chai drops a hot cup of tea on secretary, and Kintaro cleans the secretary breast and she slaps him and say if they didn't complete their company will get closed. Bossman informs that the director gets injured in an accident. Kintaro says why don't they use computer graphics to create animation? They say the CG software is very costly. Then Kintaro calls the car lady and asks to her about a CG software. She says she will give the software to him. Then they need a reference video of a swimming. Kintaro asks to swimming instructor and she gives the video to Kintaro. Noriko comes by taking her noodles. Bossman thinks how Kintaro knows so many peoples. The voice actors can't come, so Kintaro calls Naoko and she did the voiceover. They need to send the movie to censor board before it's too late, so the racer lady comes and do it within the time. The movie starts for a trial to see the quality. Movie started, everyone becomes so silent and Kintaro thinks the movie was not okay, but at the end everyone claps for the movie. The girls know that Kintaro again runs away, so they begin to find him.
If you like this video, make sure to like and share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel to never miss interesting anime like this, and also comment below to know the name of the anime.